Good morning, fellow INTERPEEPS. I am Scarab, you're watching Scarabic Enterprises. Hope you're having a wonderful time. Let me know how you're doing in the comments, because every comment means the world to me. It actually really does. I love hearing about your lives, and I love hearing about everything that's happening and what your opinion is on certain videos and everything. So it's really, really important that you guys leave a comment. Not because I want some sort of YouTube algorithm to pick me up, just because I like getting to know you guys. Stop raining! So I know, I yell at the weather. What of it? Anyway, it's story time with me, the person that you're currently watching. Yay. This isn't really much of a story. Well, I guess it is. It's a thing that I did in the past. Anyway, I don't know if you guys are interested, but I like Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know if you guys like Dungeons & Dragons. If you do, leave it in the comments. I would like to know about it. And share your stories. I'd like to know all of the crazy shit that happens in the stories. As a matter of fact, I could probably tell you a couple of things that happened in my experience with Dungeons & Dragons, which is something I could do now, but I wanted to talk about something else. Anyway, Dungeons & Dragons, if you don't already know, is a game that is based on creating a character sheet on paper. And then you've got a bunch of different dice, and then you roll the dice, and you put your attributed stats, and blah, blah, blah. Math happens, and then that's how you interact with the world, and how you create, death upon your enemies, and cast spells, and do a bunch of stuff. So, yeah, it's an interesting and an acquired taste for gaming, especially tabletop gaming. It's not like a board game, though you can play with like figurines and stuff if you really have to. It's mainly a game that plays in your own head. But there's this game, if you guys are familiar with a series called Firefly, or the movie Serenity, there is a role-playing game for that too. And it's like Dungeons & Dragons, except it's not on the D20 system. It's based on a system called the CORSAIR system. And I love Firefly, but the way that it was written, the book, it's very confusing. It's up to interpretation, and it's so loose that it didn't have any ground to stand on. Like, you had to come up with your own ideas of what you need to do, what you plus together to get a certain thing. So I fixed the book. I spent months on this, because I really like my role-playing games and stuff. As a matter of fact, I've got a binder behind me that just has all of this, all of these corrected notes and added features and stuff in my Firefly universe. I think it's called Serenity RPG. Yeah, I edited it because, like, the way that it works is not the same as Dungeons & Dragons. Dungeons & Dragons has, alright, this is your sword, and you have to roll a d8 plus a d20 plus a this and that, blah, 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 to attack. And then, if you roll a 19 or a 20, it ends up being a critical, and then you do, like, double damage or triple damage, depending on the weapon that you're using. Also, if there's any magical factors, you might have to put in a thing there as well. Also, everything that happens depends on your armor. Depends on if you're like got heavy armor or something, then it's harder to cast spells. It's harder to do things, that sort of thing. Anything that requires dexterity is a little harder to perform. But you're very strong, that sort of thing. But with Firefly, it's different. Instead of doing that, you have to plus together a couple of different features. So you've got your attributes, and then you've got your skills. So you got, your standard strength and dexterity and blah, blah. But then you've also got all of your different skills. Now, all your strength and stuff is a dice. It's like a die number. Rather than just as a number that says, all right, you got a +2 or a -2 in such and such ability. So let's say strength, for example, in D&D, you'd have like a +2 strength. So anything that requires you to be physically adept at whatever, like moving a boulder or something, you would roll +2 on top of the dice that you roll to beat. So then you can, perform an action and stuff. But in this, it automatically is a die. So you could have a D6 in strength, which is standard 6-sided dice. And you roll that, but you have to roll that with something else. So let's say you went to go punch someone in the face. You would use either a dexterity or a strength dice, and then your martial arts dice. So if you had some sort of hand-to-hand combat, you would roll either one of those. And that's the problem. That's the thing that I found the worst about the Cortex system, is that it didn't matter what you rolled. You could roll fucking anything. It's really up to the dungeon master or the game master or whatever to decide whether or not you do a dexterity or you do strength. So I came up with a system where I just went, all right, this is for combat, this is for shooting, this is for this is for that. And I fixed it. I fucking fixed it. If you want an action, some of it is up because like some people, like when you're playing standard role-playing games and stuff, they do come up with a bunch of different scenarios that you're like, oh, I wasn't prepared for that, so you have to think on your feet. But for the majority of actions like tumbling or shooting someone or taking aim or hitting someone or, you know, anything from going, I want to swing across the room on the chandelier and then do a backflip off or something, you know, something crazy. You could do that, but I specified what you needed to roll in order to do that, where the book left it up for interpretation. It was really, really annoying. So I fixed that, and then I added more features. So I spent months and months fixing all the problems with the book that I found as a problem, and went, all right, this is all fucked up, this doesn't make any sense, and this is too complicated or not complicated enough. So I had to complicate things. So I made my own story within the universe where it takes place after the movie Serenity. No spoilers, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it does take place after Serenity. After the big thing that happens that I can't spoil for the people that haven't seen Firefly yet. And if you haven't seen Firefly and Serenity yet, seriously, watch the show first, then the movie, and then get back to listening to what I got to say. Because it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. But since they've already got a Serenity, I'll just put this in there. Since they've already got a Serenity RPG for tabletop, they've wanted to make a game for a long time, and I guess they did, but it was like really shit, and no one really got into it, or it didn't get enough popularity, or it just didn't take off. But I've always pictured Firefly, Serenity, whatever. I've always pictured a game for them to be done by like Obsidian Entertainment, like the people that did Fallout New Vegas and Elder Scrolls Oblivion, because and the New Worlds or whatever it's called, Sky World, Sky, I can't remember. I honestly can't remember. I've been playing it a lot and I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, New Lands, Skylander. No, I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So I actually got Outside Xbox to say my idea in a message I sent through. I'll play it now for you.
Scarabic Enterprises says, can somebody please try to convince Obsidian to make a sci-fi RPG in the Firefly Serenity universe? That'd be cool. I think they're more likely to make Outer Worlds 2, given that everyone's loving it at the moment.
Yeah.
And that's my concept. So, although they said that it could be the other game that they would like want to make a sequel of, they've actually got some Firefly references in that game as well. But I just wish that they actually like within the world, because Joss Whedon made such a wonderful and interesting world that you could just do anything. It's so much fun. And it's scary too, you know. It's got so much like action, adventure, comedy, and a little bit of horror as well. And not just that, but it's also got like a nice spin on like how the world is, how the Alliance are, and it's got like corruption. It's got so much interesting things inside the universe. And then you got RimWorlds and I can't fucking remember anymore, but it's got so much in it, so much content that could be squeezed out of there. And I'm pretty sure that if you asked Nathan Fillion to go, hey, could you be a voice actor just for like a segment or a part in this, where maybe you're instructing a new recruit to figure out what they're supposed to do on these dry runs and everything, then that would be really cool. And then you could just explore the world of Serenity, Firefly, whatever. But you can just explore the universe, you know? And that would be amazing. So what I'm trying to do, outside of the fact that I fixed the Cortex system, is that what I'm trying to do is to get go onto as many streams as possible and then ask people this question. maybe I'll make a compilation of it as well. And if you guys are watching this and you're interested in doing that, then we should all ask to see if Obsidian can make a Firefly game, because that would be absolutely amazing. Imagine a fucking role-playing game where you could earn your way up to earn to get your own Firefly, or to have your own ships and stuff. Maybe because the Firefly is like an underdog. It's not even the best ship around. It's just that within that crew is really cool. But anyway, it would just be really cool to have a fucking game in that universe. So yeah, I go around to different streams and stuff, and I'm going to be like spending a little bit of money, like $5 here and there, $5 or $10 here and there, just to ask this question, to get bigger people to go, hang on a second, that would be really cool. And then if we get enough people in on it, we might actually be able to open the door to the possibility that it would actually happen. I don't want to take sole credit for it if it ever does, but I definitely know that people would want this. So let's make it happen. Let's just go around, get everyone in on it, and let's just make a fucking Firefly game. I know that it's like you got to worry about like the legal side of things, the studios, everyone's got rights, copyright, everything like that. But I'm sure that we don't have to worry about that. We just need the game company to go, hey, can you guys like go, hey, everything's good here, and then go to Joss Whedon and say, can we have creative freedom on this and all that sort of stuff, and then boom, there you go. It's a lot more complicated than I made it out to be, but that would be really cool. Anyway, so yeah, I made this Firefly role-playing game very playable. I haven't had that many people to play with, unfortunately, but I've created my own little world in it. So it's based after Serenity, and it kicks off with a person from a planet or anything. Find a backstory for your characters. Always have a backstory for your characters. If you're going to be a DM, GM, whatever, you always got to have a backstory, and for your characters, for the other people's characters, and everyone. So you can have them come up with their own, but you can also have it set up. So then you can have a storyline set out for them, which they can explore and go outside of. So then they can do a bunch of different things and play the game they want to play it. But you can always direct them in a way that progresses through the storyline that you would like them to go through. Though the little random side missions and stuff you can have fun with. And that's the beauty about what I wanted to do with my Firefly game, is that I wanted everyone to have a really positive experience where they get the creative freedom to do what they want, and what that does shapes their character and shapes the way that the future is in that universe for them. But they still have, like, the whole premise of what I'm doing is there is a war that's coming. There's a big war that's coming. And it's basically like doing a bunch of things just so then you can survive, leveling up your characters in different ways, and then making sure that you are battle ready for when the war comes. So when the war comes, there's like a different system that I've put in where you can have a team of AI, so like NPCs, non-player characters, to be on your team and to level up guns, because I don't think there was any like necessarily gun modifications in the vanilla version of Serenity RPG, but I mean there might have been like a silencer or something, but I actually spent a lot of time working on all the kinks of modifying all the different weapons and stuff, making sure they're balanced, not overpowered, like worrying about weapon weight and accuracy and everything, but increasing damage, that sort of thing. So yeah, I spent a lot of time, months and months of time, working on all of these different features, and that way you could level yourself up, level up your team, and everyone gets their own like assault squad, and that way they could like take down a building, be methodical, do everything, like go around to these bases that I can't go into with story wise because I don't want to I don't want to spoil anything for anyone that hasn't fucking seen it already. But you could essentially, there's these factions that you could go and take down these bases. Bust down a door, do it like SWAT style, or you could just go, I'm going to blow off half of this building because I've got a rocket launcher. You could do whatever you want, but like playing it strategically is something that I really want to encourage. I've got all of these plans set forth. I've created from the lore of the universe and also from the lore of just the way that it is. I've come up with different types of gangs and different types of like factions, and I've created a new faction that is a combination of two older factions that are sort of banding together to fight the greater evil, and that's what the war's all about. So yeah, it's really interesting that I've spent so much time trying to fucking get it together that then it's been so long since I played with anyone that I've sort of it's just slipped under my radar for so long. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't call myself a writer, but I do write a lot, and I've come up with short stories, and I've done a bunch of poetry and lyrics. I was a musician for 12 years, which means that all my original songs and stuff, they've all got original lyrics and stuff like that. So, I mean, technically I am a writer or a poet or whatever you want to fucking call it, but it's, working on a role-playing game and getting into game design and balancing systems and stuff. Even for a board game or a a tabletop game, it's so hard to do. It's really hard. It took a lot of trial and error to go, hang on a second, this doesn't work, and this algorithm doesn't work, putting the math together on this doesn't work, and I like it. So yeah, there's so much that I put in that I had to take out. And some of the systems that I made and implemented, I had to just completely abandon because I went, this is completely unbalanced. It's either too easy or too hard. And also the jump in scale, you can't just, when it comes to balancing difficulty, you can't just go 1 and then you get 1, then 2, and then you get 4, and then 3, then you get 6. You can't have something that jumps like that. You got to have something that is more that it gives you a small bonus, and then you move up the scale, and then it's okay, that small bonus gets a little bit stronger, and then you go up the scale, you get a new ability, but it's a weaker ability, and then you go up the scale, and you keep going, and then you find a way where, from level 1 to 5, something happens, but it's not that significant, but it becomes useful. And then from 5 to 10, you realize that it all sort of goes back down to where 1 to 5 was useful. It's no longer as useful, but from 5 to 10, you go, hang on a sec, now in combination with this, that's how it becomes useful. And then you can build a really powerful character by leveling up certain aspects of what they do. So if you have different types of features and different types of things, you can't just go, okay, I'm going to start the game rich and I'm going to buy all of the guns and all of the cool things. No. You got to go, all right, well, you start off with a fucking pea shooter that craps out on you. And then you got to earn your way to have enough money, but then you always find a way to rob your, if you see someone getting too powerful too quickly, the DM's responsibility is basically to go, oh, no, you don't. In your sleep you get mugged and you lose some of your cash and blah, 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 and it starts a quest. And then they're like, I want my money back. But then they put them back into something else. They still have no money, but it puts them back into something else, and maybe eventually down the line they'll find that person. And then they'll get their money back, or they won't find their money, and then they'll start another quest to say, oh, okay, so I don't have your money, but I know where to get it. And then you talk to these people, investigate, and then you move on and get to something a little bit more questy, side quests. But it's really interesting just to see how, you can go from a scrub, and then you work your way up, and you're like, all right, cool, I've got an extended magazine, I've got a laser sight, and then it's like, oh no, when you took damage, you rolled a 1, and now your newfound gun has just been shot and shattered to pieces. So yeah, having a balancing system is very important when it comes to role-playing games, and when it comes to video games and anything in general. If there wasn't a balanced system, then the game would fall apart and it would become very uninteresting very quickly. So I've been dabbling a little bit in the Unity engine. I don't have anything planned at the moment. I mean, I've got a couple of plans. I would like to get to know how to make video games and stuff, so I have a deeper understanding. I don't know if I want to be a game designer, but I've got a couple of ideas that if I'm able to implement just in a rough draft of a video game or something, and then sell the idea to a bigger indie dev, then that would be really cool. I'd just be like, all right, well, here's the concept. This is what I want to do. Can you make it happen? But if I actually get the skills, the necessary skills to complete it myself, then I'll do that. But yeah, it all comes down to time, and I don't have a lot of time. So that being said, we're coming up to 20 minutes now, so I'm just going to go. And thank you all for listening. Spread the word. Let's get Firefly made. Bye-bye.